In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a cohesive collage series from the 5 types of collage papers taught in my 5 most recent YouTube art demos. Hello, my name is Catherine Rains. I'm a mixed media collage artist, and welcome to Tune In Tuesday, where I share weekly art demos to expand your mixed media toolbox. If you see value in this video, I would deeply appreciate a thumbs up, and if you would subscribe to my channel below. Links for all the collage papers to make this collage series are down below. And while you're there, you might also want to check out my free 5-day online workshop, Collage Kickstart, where I show you how to use all the collage papers taught during Tune In Tuesday to make beautiful collages the very first try. So let's get into creating a cohesive collage series from 5 types of collage papers. When I finish creating 5 different types of collage papers for YouTube, I challenge myself to put them into a mini collage series. And I've done this 3 different times. The first time was this mini series of 3, and each one of these collages had the same papers on them. So this was water gel beads, suminagashi, marble paper, and bubble paper. And the other 2 collages had the same papers on them in a similar design. So that was the first mini series. So the second series of 2, again, had 5 different papers on them. And I had dendritic paper, this is baggy paper, cling wrap in both places, and paste paper. And then the last time I did this, again, I had a mini series of 2, and this one had alcohol resist. I think it's alcohol resist right here. This is a string pulling, doodle, and I'm not sure. But they had the same things on them, the same elements. And because in each case, I am using the same 3 colors. I'm using phthalo blue-green shade, and magenta, and Hansa yellow light, plus black and white. All the papers that I make all go together. There are now 7 collages in my little mini-series. And now I've got 5 more types of paper that today I want to pull together into another mini-series. So the 5 papers that I'll be using are the burn papers, which is the most recent demo I did. I've got some tea bag papers. I have water resist papers, totally in love with these. Actually, I'm in love with all of them. I've got the leaf monoprints, which I think are just over the top gorgeous. And the first one I made were crayon resist. So the first thing I do whenever I'm making any collage series is I want to select my papers. So even though there's only 5 different types of papers here, there are still way too many papers, particularly in this file itself, to make a collage that doesn't feel chaotic. If I have too many choices to make in making a collage, it's not a joyful process. What I'm going to do is take each one of my piles of papers and I'm going to separate them by which papers do I absolutely adore. And since I have already committed to kind of like a blue, teal, green palette for the previous series that I have made, those are the papers that I'm going to select. So I'm going to take out the papers that have reds, oranges, and yellows and stick to these colors. At least I think that's what I'm going to do. So what I do is I pick up each piece of paper and I go, do I love this paper? I only want to work with papers that I love. And I actually do love this paper. So this is the yes pile. Since I'm not going to be using red for this series, it goes over here. I need some light colors, so I think I'm going to put this over here. Oh, I love that. I don't know, it's in the wrong color family, but it might be a nice highlight, so I'm going to stick it over here. Love that. And I'm going to continue doing this through this entire pile, and I'm going to do it with the other 4 papers as well. I only have papers that I absolutely adore going into my collages. So I'm thinking maybe I'm going to be doing a little pop of red. We'll see. Oh, I love that, but I don't think it'll go. So I'm looking for papers that when I touch them, I go, ooh, like, do I actually have a feeling inside my body that goes, yeah, love that. And I'd be surprised if I don't put this in a collage because I love it so much. So these are my crayon resist papers. I'm going to put them aside. I'm going to move on to my leaf monoprints. So again, this is a yes pile, no pile. Love. Okay, the yes pile, got water resist. Love this paper so much, I could eat it. I love this one. A lot of these are experiments, so they'll just go by the wayside. And more than likely, like a paper like that, I will put another layer on in another paper technique demo. Love this. Okay, got my yes pile. The burn papers I don't have near as many of. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to use this one. Absolutely adore that. And I think this one has real potential too. I have two different choices here. And I think I could live without these. So a very short pile for my burn papers. And then I've got some tea bags. Just, you know, something really simple put on as a kind of a top layer to a collage I think would be lovely. So really any one of these three. So now, this is my entire yes pile, and I sort this one more time. And this time I'm sorting for light, medium, and dark because I need different values as I'm collaging. So now I'm gonna be mixing the papers up. So that's pretty much a medium value. That's obviously a light. And I think I'm even gonna do neutral. So we'll put a neutral pile here. This is a dark, which, oh my gosh, is so gorgeous. Medium, dark. The more I look at this, I don't think I really like it as much. I'm gonna do a pile for my little reds. I'm not sure if I'm gonna use these or not, but I love them so much. So this is gonna be my palette. Now, just for fun, I think I'm gonna also add in one or two other technique papers. These never made it to a series of 5. They were part of ones I did in 2023, and I never did anything with them. This is water drop paper, and I just think that would be a really cool top layer for something. So I'm gonna add another pile here. These are very translucent. And I'll just pick out a few. Oh my gosh. So this, look at that. It's translucent. I think that is so pretty. Just pick out a few of these that I think might be really cool top layers. That's also very translucent and neutral. And then I also have some palette papers. These are the papers that I actually rolled some paint on to create these papers. So I was thinking these might be interesting to sort if I loved them. Like I don't love that one. Don't love that one. But that one has some interesting texture to it. So that might be a medium. Got a lot of nose. I love that one if I was doing oranges. So we'll just put that over there. Ooh, wow, look at that one. In fact, that's like a yes. Whoa. I also did some magazine image transfers that I also never used in a collage. This was from 2023. So I have a couple that I really like here. So I love this one. So I could actually use this as the base layer and collage on top of it. So love that. Also love this one. And this would make a really cool base layer as well. It might get covered up quite a bit, but I love it. Then I've got some other ones I am not sure about, so I'm gonna keep them out. I'm not doing anything with the pink, so I would have to cover this up to make it work, but the teal would work and this green. So this might actually be something. This blue doesn't really fit into my palette, so I'm not gonna use that. That's a nice neutral, but I don't like the image unless I just collage all over it. Okay, so I'm gonna play with the idea of using these as the actual substrate for my collages. So it'll probably be these, I'm thinking. So let me see. So I'm gonna jump in and start with one of these, tearing papers and creating the actual collage number 1. So my first collage in this little series will be on this magazine collage image. And this was actually mounted to a watercolor piece of paper, or it could be mixed media, I'm not sure, but it's still a heavy paper that has been gessoed on both sides and then dried. And then the magazine image transfer was put on top. I actually have a YouTube video where you can see me actually making this one. So I want to highlight, obviously, this woman's face, but I want to make a collage around it. And I'm focused on contrasts. So how can I have a lot of contrast within the collage? And I also want to get as many different kinds of papers from the last 5 weeks and possibly a couple weeks before that that I had never actually put into one of my little mini series. I found this crayon resist paper, and this just has a beautiful contrast to this woman's face. So I'm just going to start laying things down and kind of playing with placing different elements and seeing how they might all fit together using contrast, and again, as many different kinds of papers as I can. This is another one of my favorite papers. This is a leaf monotype. This is a nice contrast as well. So this contrasts with that, it contrasts with her face, which I really like that. And then this actually takes care of two papers in one. This is the whole paper, the burn holes, as well as the water resist paper. This was one of the reject papers, but when I put holes on it, I actually started liking it again. So I want some kind of contrast with the white, with that kind of medium teal. And I've got just a strip of dark blue right there. And I love having these little holes poke through here. I think that's really quite lovely. Then I need something, I don't know, something to frame her face. So I don't want the whole face. I just want kind of like the highlights of the face. So I found this water drop paper. Again, this is another YouTube video that I've done. So this water drop paper will help to frame her face a little bit here. And I also want to kind of make it in line with these little holes that I already have going on. I kind of like something like that. And everything is changeable because I haven't glued anything down. And then I need something dark right here to kind of frame the whole piece. So this is a piece of leaf paper, the mono leaf. Gonna frame that in like that a lot. And I need to get a piece of tea bag paper in here. So let me see if I can just gently lay this on top, something like that, to kind of pull some of these papers together. Oh my goodness, I'm kind of liking this a lot. So when I get like kind of a feeling inside my body that says, ooh, yeah, usually I have something. Now, obviously, I'm going to glue this down and I'm going to cut this out, you know, so all the extra paper will be gone. So it'll be a 6x6 by the time I'm done. Kind of now looking at what do I like about this and what do I not like about this. And at the moment, I'm liking everything about it other than the fact that I have to hold the pieces on so they won't fall off. But I've got, I think, all the papers on here. So I've got the leaf mono type. I've got crayon resist. I've got tea bag paper. This is both water resist and the burn holes. And I've got the water drops, and I've got an image transfer. So if I count the number of papers up here I've got 1, 2, 3. This top one counts as 2 because it's actually burn holes on top of water resist. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 7 different papers on here, just what I wanted. Okay, so now I'm gonna take these off one by one and I will glue them and see what we got. Because you really don't know what the collage is gonna look like until it's glued down. So I've got two kind of glues here. I have matte medium, I have matte gel. This one's liquidy, this one is more of a gel-like consistency. And I'll use these back and forth depending on the weight of the actual paper. So I'm gonna start with my crayon resist paper. And this is a piece of drawing paper. Really, I could use either one of these glues for this. I'm trying to think which one I want to use. I think I'm going to use the matte gel though. So I'm going to put that right there where I took it off. Now I'm just pushing all the bubbles out with my finger before I go on to the next piece. So I love the fact that I've got a lot of contrast here. I've got a medium value, I've got that very light value with the white, and then I've got this strip of dark. It just kind of makes the whole thing pop for me. So I am gonna just lift this up since I've got it placed, kind of glue it half at a time. Again, this is the gel medium. Very heavy glue because I've got a pretty heavyweight paper here. Now I could use a catalyst wedge to push these out, but I find it almost as easy to do with my fingers sometimes, hence why I'm using gloves. I cannot stand getting all of that matte medium on my fingers. It's just kind of, I don't know, it just doesn't, I don't like it on my fingers. I don't like having sticky fingers. Now this matte medium is going to dry completely clear. So even though you see a little bit of white residue right now, you will not be able to see that once the glue dries. I'm getting a little bit of the residue from the burn marks. It's like little extra scrapings that are coming off as I'm gluing. Okay, so far so good. I'm going to keep cutting off the edges, again, just so I can see what I've got. I'll cut it much better once everything is dry. Now this is a piece of deli paper. It's water drop paper, but the paper itself is deli paper. It was not completely translucent. It was not done on tissue paper. Therefore, because it's so thin, I'm going to switch to the matte medium, and I'm just going to hold it here so I have it, because I have the placement where I want it. So I'm just going to put the glue on underneath. Oh, I'm really liking that a lot. You know, sometimes you don't know what this is going to look like. Actually, usually you don't know what it's going to look like until you got all the pieces down and glued. So it's always kind of like, even though I've already placed them, when I put them down for sure with glue, it's like, ooh. At least I hope I'm going to say ooh, and not like go, ooh. I don't like that. So far, I'm digging it. I'm just going to press out bubbles. And the deli paper can take a lot of abuse. It's a pretty thick paper. Even though it's thin, it's a very sturdy paper. Now, there's some texture on the collage itself, so you actually see the texture, at least I can, underneath the deli paper, so it's picking it up. And that's okay. It kind of adds to the interest of the piece. I got a little bit of ripples here, but it's only because it's rippled underneath here. Okay, I think that's good. Oh, I love that. By the way, whenever I say I love that, I'm on the right track. It's like, okay. But I love how it just kind of hides things, but it doesn't hide things. I got this piece of tea bag paper. I think I had it placed something like that. The more I put down, the more I love. So again, this is very thin paper. You get much more careful as I push bubbles out with this one. And I'm just going to gently see if I can get the bubbles out just by pressing it with my brush. And this side I'll do separately. This is a heavier paper. Get my matte gel out. Now there's a little bit of, something's come up right there from the magazine transfer. So see if I can get that to go down. Okay, I'm gonna let this dry and I'll come back once it's dry and I'll cut off the edges to see if this needs anything else. My little collage is now dry, and there's two things I still want to do to it to kind of finish it off. I need to put something here that kind of mirrors this. So I need something black here. And these little dots, which is this paper, which I love, this paper is actually much more translucent than I thought. This is actually deli paper. So you can see the deli paper, but I really want it to be more white. So I want it to be more masking the girl's face. So I've poured out a little bit of very thinned out white paint, and I'm just going to very gently paint around my circles. This is one of the few times that I actually want to highlight the tissue underneath or the deli paper. Usually I'm trying to disguise it. So I'm just going to just highlight those dots a little bit and see if I like that a little more. Get a teeny bit darker with a Stabilo pencil just to highlight those features just a little bit. So collage number 1 is done. So I just added a little flourish here, which is just a fine liner bottle with some acrylic paint. I wanted my second collage to also have a face in it, just to bring that into both of them to make it look like a series. The only thing I've done with this is I just distressed the edges with a stamp pad because it was a little white for me. So I'm just going to start laying pieces on top to highlight the woman's face, still cover up some of this piece here. And this is already collaged. So I've already got some writing in here. The woman is collaged on top of everything. There's some distressing going on. So I've already got some collaging. The first piece of paper I'm going to try is this leaf paper, which I like very much. This is a leaf monoprint. And there's already a lot of contrast going on. And that's what I'm really looking for is, can I put a piece of paper down that is in high contrast to what it's next to? And then thinking I would love to use this paper again, do something in overlay. I love how the leaves peek through it. So that's pretty interesting looking for the moment. Everything is changeable and negotiable. Maybe even put it over onto her shoulder. That's kind of interesting too. This is crayon resist paper. I like that. I don't know if I want to put it a little farther down off her shoulder or make it even with her shoulder. Well, even for the moment. And I'm going to reuse this piece of paper. I mean, it's not the same piece of paper, but this was actually torn off of this piece. And this actually covers 2 different pieces of paper again. This is the water resist as well as the burning whole paper. So put this somewhere because I'd like to have something peek through the hole that I think is kind of interesting. And I'm trying to line it up with some things that might peek through right there as well. Yeah, I guess that's good. And then this is tea bag paper. So just to add a little bit of interest to the corner without taking away from her face. Now, again, it's really hard to see what this is going to look like until I actually glue it down. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take all the pieces off and then I will glue it back down and then cut all the extra paper off it and see what else it needs. Again, I'm going to use a combination of matte medium and gel medium, depending on the weight of the paper that I'm gluing down. And the first paper is this. It's a kind of a drawing paper. So I'm thinking it might work really well to glue this down. Actually, I could use either glue. It really doesn't matter. But I'm going to go for the gel. I'm going to let this sit to dry and I'll come back and we'll finish this up together, see what else it needs. Now this one, it's all trimmed up. I like it a lot. So then I ask myself, what is missing? And I need to break this up right here. So I pulled out some of my squiggly tissue things. And I think that is enough to finish this. So I'm going to cut around this tissue and then glue it down. I'm going to use a matte medium, put a little down. And I'm just going to plop this tissue right in the middle of this. Now this squiggly was just created with a fine liner and some acrylic paint in the fine liner. And there's lots of little ripples in here. They can easily be taken out just by smoothing them out like that. Just pushing the glue out from underneath that squiggly. So I'm just studying this, trying to figure out if I need to do something else. I wish this were a thicker line to show up more. I think I'm just gonna let it be though. I've got my 2 newest ones, plus these 3, which are my original 3. Again, these are all 5 or 4 different papers each. This one actually has 7. These 2 have 7 different papers each. I've got these 2. These have 5 different papers each. And then I have these 2 that have 5 different papers each. Even though they're all different papers, they all came from the same colors, which is phthalo blue-green shade and Hansa yellow light plus some black and white. So it looks like a cohesive series. So I am done with these 2. So from here, I will make 5 new sets of papers with 5 different kinds of techniques and put them together again in one mini collage series like this to expand my series until I've got a series of about maybe 20 to 25. And then maybe I'll change colors, maybe not. I absolutely love this color family altogether. To learn many more collage making techniques, check out the links that are about to appear right here. And be sure to join my free 5-day online class, Collage Kickstart. The link to sign up is under More below. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I would be deeply grateful if you would. And I'll see you next week for Tune In Tuesday.